Alright, I'll do a quick little unboxing here just so you can see everything that's included with the stereo. So we have a bag here. We'll just put the box aside for now so we can see what's in this bag. So, got a bunch of cables. Immediately we can see this is the GPS antenna. This is the Wi-Fi antenna. This is the USB input. This looks like an auxiliary adapter. This is your AM/FM radio adapter. You've got another USB cable, and then you have an RCA wiring harness for things such as backup camera, video inputs, and RCA cables like an auxiliary cable. They've also included an extra fuse, and this is all of the instructions and whatnot. Alright, jumping back into the box here. These are your climate control bezels. So as you can see, they include a manual one for the knobs that you turn, and then one for the digital controls. Got another bag of cables here. This is probably the wiring harness. Yep, so we have the CAN bus decoder. As you can see, this is actually an updated version from 2017. This is actually just about a month old, so that's nice that they updated the software and whatnot. We've got our microphone here. This big clump of wires is the wiring harness. So this end will go into the factory connection, and then this end will go into your stereo. This will go to your CAN bus decoder, and other miscellaneous wires will go other places. The two last things in that bag were a little radio antenna adapter and two brackets for our climate control mounting. So we've got another bracket for our climate control. They're nice enough to include a plastic pry tool so you can pry up dash pieces and whatnot. They also included screen protectors, and I believe these are anti-glare and also anti-smudge. And now we have the main stereo itself. Very safely packaged in between some really hefty pieces of styrofoam here. Alright. So here it is, the GA7165. Feels really solid, really similar to the GA6165. Something I noticed immediately on the bottom here, they fixed a major mistake that was a huge problem with the previous version. This flange here on the bottom previously stuck out way too far, and it caused some serious issues when trying to mount the climate control. So I'm really glad that they addressed that and fixed it. Other than that, it looks about the same on the back as the GA6165. Same thing on the front. Not much has changed in terms of buttons and knobs. Before we even jump in the car, it says to take off these screws here. They're just finger tightened on. Not really sure what their purpose is, but we're gonna take them out and remove this red tape. Alright, you're probably thinking, why does he have two Eonon stereos right here? Just to explain, I've got the GA6165 installed in the car, and I purchased the GA7165 to show you guys exactly what the difference is, and just to show you the installation process, because no one has yet posted a video on the installation of the GA7165, and nobody's reviewed it yet. So anyways, I'm not going to be able to show you firsthand right now in this video how to remove the stock stereo on this car. However, I am going to insert some footage from my previous video on the installation of this GA6165, so you will know how to remove the stereo and install the microphone as well as the GPS antenna. However, just to clarify, the installation process is identical for both stereos. You're going to start off with a flathead screwdriver or pry tool, and you're just going to come in here on the side of the climate control bezel. Same thing on the other side. Pull out of here. Now you have two wiring harnesses you have to disconnect. Now we're going to remove the climate control from this bezel. Come to the back here, use a screwdriver or pry tool and lift up this tab right here. You're going to put your screwdriver under there, lift it up, and you're going to push the bezel forward. So we got that one out, and there are a couple more all the way around. So there you go, you got your climate control out of the bezel. We will no longer need this, so we can set it aside. To remove the stock stereo, you're going to remove two Torx screws underneath on either side. After doing so, you can pull the stereo right out. Careful not to damage any wires. And first you're going to want to disconnect the wiring harness over here. So pull this latch back, push it back, and the whole thing comes out. And then you have one more wire here. So push in on this tab, comes off. There you got your stock stereo. So we'll set it aside for now. Now we're going to remove this stock stereo frame here, and that's going to be done with a T15 Torx bit. After removing the 4 Torx screws, we need to remove these 2 bolts here, which are 8mm. After removing these screws and 2 bolts, the frame should come out pretty easily. So here's our GPS antenna. We're going to run it under the dash and tie it over under the A-Pillar here. We will be removing this A-Pillar here, and to do so we will remove this airbag cover using a flathead screwdriver or pry tool. And underneath this cover will be a screw. After removing this, we can remove the A-Pillar. This will be a T15 Torx bit to remove this screw here. Now we'll be removing the side of the dash here using a pry tool. Now to get this GPS antenna wire over to our stereo, we're going to need to thread a piece of wire or something that can thread through the dash from the stereo location over to this side location. Then we can tape our GPS antenna wire to this wire, and we can pull it through over to our stereo location. Okay, I've got this piece of wire threaded through from the side dash over to my stereo location. And I can now tape my GPS antenna wire to this wire and pull it through over to the dash. I pulled my GPS antenna over to the stereo location, and I pulled all the excess wire through the dash. I carefully routed my GPS wire up behind the airbag, and I just tucked the GPS antenna up here behind the airbag, and I'm going to reinstall the A-Pillar. Now our A-Pillar is reinstalled and our GPS antenna is tucked away up here behind the A-Pillar cover. Now I'll be repeating the same process on the left A-Pillar, except I'll be installing a microphone for hands-free calling. Instead of leaving the mic in the A-Pillar, I'm going to be feeding it through the A-Pillar and up to this vent here. I should get better sound quality on calls through this vent than simply through the A-Pillar. Hey guys, so I was unable to route the mic cable through the dash because of the steering wheel and instrument cluster. So instead of doing that, I came down here and removed the lower dash cover, and it actually provided a really easy access point to bring the mic cable right through under the dash, and I'm gonna route it out through this hole as I did on the other side, and I'll bring the mic up the A-Pillar and over to this vent over here. I removed this little roof console here with the lights and sunroof controller, and now I can pull my microphone up from the A-Pillar and through the headliner and into this area here where I'll secure the mic. Alright, so I got my microphone wire routed up the A-Pillar through the headliner, comes out here through this hole. There's my mic sitting right there in the roof console. Now I have to reinstall this, and I'll be all done with my mic installation. Alright, now that I've shown you how to install the GPS antenna and the microphone, I'm going to show you how to install the climate control on the stereo. Okay, first things first, we're going to go into the little hardware bag here and grab these 2 brackets and the 4 smaller screws here, and we're going to screw these brackets in like so. Alright, now these two brackets can accept the climate control. We're just going to slide into place here. Now we can grab the stereo here, take our bracket with these two prongs facing towards the screen of the stereo, and we're just going to slide it into place here and clip it on. Now, in order to get our climate control to fit properly, we will need to do some slight trimming to this edge right here and a little bit right here. This can be achieved with some cutting pliers as well as a file. So as you can see, this side is yet to be trimmed and filed down. This side has been filed down and trimmed, and it's a nice clean edge. Now, after trimming the edges on your climate control here, we can slide it into place on the stereo. Now we can take the bezel and insert the top edge first, like so, getting into the little slots, and then push the bottom edge down so that these two clips on either side slide into the slots and clip into place like so. Now there's a nice clean fit between the climate control and the stereo. Now we can get to actually installing the stereo itself. And I just wanted to note that I'm opting not to install these three cables. The first one being the subwoofer control because I don't have a subwoofer installed. And then I'm not installing the two USB cables because, to be honest, I really don't have a use for them. I already have an auxiliary port if I need to use it, but most of the time I'm just using Spotify on the stereo itself or Bluetooth with my phone. Okay, so the first part of the installation is actually just wiring itself. So the first thing we're going to do is take our wiring harness here, and we're going to plug it into the stock connector here, like so, and then snapping it shut, lock it into place. Next we're going to take the FM AM radio antenna adapter here, and we're going to plug it in, like so. So it just clicks and locks into place. And then you're going to take this blue wire labeled antenna, you'll plug it into the wiring harness like so. Next we'll take the CAN bus decoder. We'll grab this white connector on the wiring harness and we'll plug it in. To retain use of the stock auxiliary port in the console here, all we have to do is plug in two wires on this RCA harness. The two wires we have to plug in are auxiliary left and auxiliary right, and they go to the corresponding wires on this RCA harness. Two wires that we need are right here, auxiliary in L and auxiliary in R. So we'll match up the red ones, which is the right, and the white ones, which is the left. Now you can still use the stock auxiliary port in the console. The rest of these connectors don't need to be connected to anything. If you do have an external subwoofer, this is the time to plug it in, and you're just going to plug it into the green connector here. If you have a backup camera, this is the time to plug it in as well. Since I do, I'm going to take my backup camera cable and I'm going to plug it into the camera in cable on the wiring harness. Alright, now we're ready to go grab the stereo and plug it all in and install it in the car. Alright, we've got the stereo here, and the first thing we're going to go ahead and plug in is the wiring harness here in the big right slot. We're going to take our microphone and plug it into the cable here labeled mic. We'll take the antenna and plug it into the antenna connector here. Now I'll take this connector that we plugged our auxiliary cable into and we'll put it into this slot right here, which is the second one down on the bottom from the left. Now I'll grab our GPS antenna and screw it onto the left side of the stereo when you're looking at it from this view. Make sure that's nice and snug. Now on the opposite side here we can plug in the Wi-Fi antenna. The reason I didn't stick this up in the A-Pillar is because I didn't really want to feed another wire through, and I've actually found with my previous stereo that sticking it in here behind the stereo actually gets excellent signal, so it's not really a problem. Okay, that covers all of the stereo connections. Now the last three connections we have to make are the two climate control connections here and the seat warmer connection. Now before we slide the stereo in, grab the two screws included in the kit, come behind the stereo and pop out these little screw covers here on either side. Now we can slide the stereo in like so. Now we can take a Phillips head screwdriver and our two screws here and screw the stereo in. You can take your two screw covers here and cover up the two screws on either side like so. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, does it work? Look at that, just turn it on. So anyways, I'm gonna play with this, get it all set up, and see how I like it compared to the previous GA7165. I'll be doing a full review on this stereo, comparing it to the GA6165, giving you my thoughts on it. I'll also be doing a video soon on this ashtray, which relocates the seat warmer buttons, as you can see here. I hope this video was helpful to you. Please leave a like below and subscribe if you've yet to do so. I'll see you next time on JD Cars.